No, so I kind of went through this event and made a video on it, and I kind of started off slightly optimistic with looking at things, and it slowly kind of descended down into like, oh, this isn't good, this is really bad. And yeah, it basically ended up as being about a 2 hour video, which I was looking to edit down, and I was like, okay, this starts off way too optimistic, and realistically the gist of this event is really terrible. I'm going to have the runs at points in this video, and I'll leave markers to those down below so you can see how to get the subquests for them. I do that in a separate run for the second stage of this, for the airtime of the 360s, as well as how to do that 117 in the GR1 at 2 stars. That run is nearly impossible to do, by the way. Like, you really need to be pretty much a top 5% to 1% racer if you want to be able to do that 117 on San Fran. So forget about it unless, like I said, you're in definitely top 10%, 5% of all events. You will find it impossible to land a 117 with a 2-star version at GR1. I'm just going to pull up a quote here from our Discord server, which there is a link to in the channel banner for my channel. Also, subscribe to my channel, please, and yeah, leave comments down below on how you had fun with this. So somebody asked a question about this event on our Discord server before it went live, and it was, yeah, Ricky Bobby, who asked what kind of event is the Vanda supposed to look like. And yeah, my reaction was this, effectively, because, like, I have very little faith based on recent events that this will be thought out properly. And yeah, like, all aspects of this quest are effectively really, really poor, from the tokens, the blueprints, and especially the credits. So I'll go through all of those things. Yeah, Pro Cheese, by the way, you were wrong. Unless it's like, this is like the Zenvo event in that you get some blueprints for it, I guess. Not quite enough to unlock it, but still. No. The Zenvo Unleashed and stuff like that, way better than this. This one is, really bad. So, like, just one thing, pet peeve first on this one. The artwork, I don't even know, can I call it artwork? For those two things, like, that is worse than most of my YouTube thumbnails for this game. That is the picture of the car from the garage put onto a, random colored background ×2 with no text applied. That is, like, shockingly bad for artwork for a thing. Doesn't even have Vanda on it, or Vanda Electric across it. Just no text whatsoever. That's probably like a kind of showing of how much work went into the thinking of this event. So this is why I'm saying that this is quite different from the Zenvo event, is the fact that this right here is the requirements for the 2 cars that are involved in this event. So the Vanda Electrics is the upper one, and the lower one here is the GR1 for Shelby. If you wanted to get these cars up to max, this is the amount of blueprints you require. So you're looking for the Vanda to get it to 6 stars, you need 250 blueprints for that car. You also need 32.2 million credits if you wanted to actually use the car and pump the credits into, like, tuning that one up. And yeah, on the underneath then you've got the GR1 Shelby with its 165 blueprint requirement to get this to 4 stars, which is a requirement to get some of the blueprints from this, which definitely isn't worth doing. And yeah, like here it requires 5 million credits. Okay, so that's like what you want if you want to come out of this with the 4-star version of the Shelby and the 6-star version of the Vanda Electrics, and have them actually tuned up to where that's usable and not just empty stars, effectively, as in having a car starred up but where you can't tune it up. Now, so up here then I have the my amazing text document of working out exactly what this costs, what this gives, and how this pays back. And yeah, this event, so to max it, you need 250 blueprints for the Vanda, 165 for the GR1, and 37.2 million credits for the maxing out of those cars. This, though, is if you have the Zerouno maxed out coming into this, this is exactly what you can get from this event in total. From a blueprints point of view and a credits point of view. So the event gives you, 22 blueprints for the Vanda Electric, 12 blueprints for the GR1, and 150k credits, 150,000. That's not enough for a single upgrade at stage 9 of the Zerouno. My Zerouno was 4 stars going into this, but it didn't have any of the 4-star upgrades attached. A single 4-star upgrade, which I needed to make the second times in this, cost 175k, which immediately put me at a credit deficit from this event. Just looking at what you actually need then from the store is, if you want to go for packs, you need to get 228 Vanda Electric blueprints, 153 blueprints for the GR1 from packs. So total blueprints required to max out these two cars is 380. And yeah, you're also going to need, obviously, like I said, the Zerouno coming into this at max to even get those initial blueprints. Oh, and also what you need when you subtract the upgrade cost from the credits you get is, yeah, it's still 37 million. Like, 150k that you get from this in terms of credits is one of the worst portions of this, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't give a lot of stuff, but yeah, like, giving 150k credits, it's crazy. It means the fact that, like, there's no encouragement whatsoever for players to actually spend tokens or real money on these cars, because no matter what way you work out this event, even if you had the tokens for this, it would still come at a massive cost to credits. So, like, I'll go through exactly what this costs here. So, if you're giving the fact that you've got a 10% drop rate in your 10 packs and you get to 10 blueprints guaranteed for each 10 pack. So, on average, you'll end up getting about 6 blueprints for each 10 pack you open. Slightly less at times because it's based on 9. But yeah, say on average, you're getting 6 blueprints per. You would need to open 64 10 packs to get those 380 blueprints. 64 10 packs times 750 tokens costs 48,000 tokens. Yeah. But the event does give back 360 tokens. So yeah, you would effectively need 47,500 tokens going into this if you wanted to max out the Vanda and the GR1 from this. Like, and not only that, but like, if you look at my credits and tokens, okay, so I wouldn't be able to make the token requirement for that at my 36,000. It's not enough to max out those two cars with this event. But the other thing is, I would also need about 43,000 credits for it, and like, that's one of the most insane ones, because the credits are not the premium currency. The premium currency is the one that I'm actually closer to the requirement for. I'm only like give or take around 25% away from that. I do not even have like 10% of the requirement for the actual credits that's rewarded there. But yeah, it just takes away the actual encouragement to spend the tokens to upgrade the cars when you don't have the credits to max them out. Like, I don't get it. What's the point in having the credits so low? Like, obviously on the global version, there's ways of watching ads, I believe, to double the credit rewards that you get from stuff, and there is other ways of getting credits. But on the Switch, like, the only way to get 37 million credits is pretty much go into multiplayer 1 and either DS spot it, which would take you 500 runs per million. So you would need, what's that, like 5,000, 15,000 DS spotted runs to get that, or else actually do it yourself by driving and you'll get 10k per run. It'll still take you a ludicrous amount of time. So like, yeah, the credit situation on Switch really needs to be looked at, because yeah, it's not being worked out correctly in my opinion. I've heard from a lot of people who are credit starved, but yeah, like, events like this kind of really show up why that would happen. Like, this event giving 150k, it's just not even enough to pay for a single upgrade. There's no point in giving a player tokens or blueprints if you don't have credits to do anything with them. Like, upgrading a car to 6 stars but then only being able to leave it at 2,000 rating because, yeah, you don't have any credits, yeah, that's no addition to your garage. You take that into multiplayer, it's still just effectively still a 1-star car. Now, not that anyone would be crazy enough to do it, but if you were to go with the best value of this for the tokens, so you need 47,000 tokens for this event. Yeah, if you were to buy those at 3,000 tokens for 99 euros each, you'll need to buy around 16 packs of them, or 1,600 euros worth of tokens to get those cars started up. Like, that does sound crazy when you think about it in straight up real world money if you wanted to max out those cars. But yeah, like, that's not even the worst thing. Like, it's obviously crazy, and yeah, obviously there's going to be people who are like, I want to max that Vanda, and yeah, that's cool, but at the same time, it's like, that's not even the worst thing of this event. And like, I say it all the time that like these things aren't really thought out, and the 37 million credits is actually way worse when you look at what it'll actually cost. So I worked out the maths on this using MS Calculator. It's underneath me here, but yeah, it's basically like, because it's crazy math. Yeah, so the way to get these credits would be effectively you need 37 million credits, which is 74 purchases of the 500,000 for 2,000 tokens each. 2,000 is obscured by me, but yeah, it's 2,000 tokens for 500,000. So you have to buy that 74 times. 74 times 2,000 tokens is 148,000 tokens. So to bring that in, you have to look at how many times did you need to buy your 3,000 tokens to get 148,000, and that would require 50 purchases of the €99 bundle. Or yeah, when you multiply that by 100, that's €5,000 worth of tokens required to actually tune up these cars the way this stuff stands now. So like, yeah, just if anyone was looking at this event and thinking, wow, that seems like a really costly if you were to go into it all the way, it's like, yeah, it wouldn't cost you a crazy amount if you were to do this with the in-game purchases of best value, which I love to see that on there, best value. But yeah, when you actually think about the fact that like if you wanted to use the in-game currency, and obviously there's some microtransactions which are reduced, but they're like for a handful of blueprints, nowhere near the 380 you require. Yeah, like if you were to actually do this via tokens and try and upgrade it that way, like the actual asking cost here is 6.5 grand, which is fucking bullshit, obviously. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, because I'm going to trim this video down and obviously just leave in just this at the start and then the runs individually. If they're a little bit unusual or out of sequence, or there's me talking about other stuff like that might be slightly repeated here, I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm going to just include those runs, like I said, because otherwise this was way too much of me talking and realizing how bad this was as I played through it. But yeah, the knockdowns are particularly difficult in the Zerouno because of the fact that you'll just accelerate past them. I would strongly advise for all of these to basically like separate out doing these sub goals and doing the actual times, because the times are not easy in the slightest. They're definitely very difficultly tuned. And yeah, like to say these goals, knockdowns, it's hard in the Zerouno because you'll accelerate past them really quickly. So you're left with a dilemma then of, do you slow down to knock down the AI, but while you're also trying to get the time? So that's nearly impossible to get in the Zerouno unless you really pinball them out of your way kind of at the start. Bar rolls is fine on streets of San Francisco. Like you'll get that nearly every time you're doing this run if you're doing it properly, because you need to go up that large hill climb. Perfect nitros is near impossible to do 8 of those in a time where you're going to get those rewards for it, because yeah, perfect nitro is that blue state that you put the car into, and it's just not something you want to be using on streets of San Francisco. There's no acceleration in a perfect nitro. That is completely counterintuitive to recommend a player do 8 of those in this run. Like I said, I would just go for the blueprints and then separately aim to do your 6 barrel rolls, the 3 knockdowns, and the perfect nitro. So you can just spam the car into that blue nitro state, out of the blue nitro state, into the blue nitro state, and out. I didn't do a run specifically focusing on these 3 because those are pretty much like easy enough to do. There's little explanation needed. Now, I do have the run for the Zerouno up the streets of San Fran. That's relatively easy because this one's a 2-star requirement. My car at the time of doing that run was 3 stars and like not tuned beyond that level. This time here though, this one is an absolute killer. 117 in the Ford Shelby GR1 to get 2 blueprints for this car. That time is an incredibly difficult challenge. Like that took me, I would say, about 7 or 8 attempts before actually landing a time under 117. So like, how can I put this? In say like the Car Hunt Riot, I normally do my first run is a top 5% run, and then from there I try and improve that to make a video. So like 9 runs of this, if you would have difficulty in getting into the top 5% in those runs and you've got the cars tuned up, like if you would finish up, I would say, outside the top 10%, do not consider these 2 blueprints as free blueprints if you get the Ford Shelby to that point. That 117 time is genuinely a nightmare to do. Once you follow the pathway in this track, I've got it down like a good couple of times. But yeah, there's a screenshot from the last time I put that in. So it is possible to do a 116.38. But that involves like a near perfect run using the pathway that I show in the actual video that I put up. That's not taken for that one. I think the one that I first passed the 117 is like 116.8 or so. It's far closer, but yeah, it is possible to do it. It's just, it needs a really, really perfect run, and definitely follow the pathway that's in that video. Now, the second portion of this, the sub goals, I do have a video particularly towards the end of this, just on those airtime and the 360s in one go, because like those are fairly tough on this particular version of the Rome circuit. But yeah, I do a video where, again, it's just a case of focus on the sub goals, ignore the times, just do these things, and you get the tokens from that, all the amazing token rewards that are in this. And yeah, then when it comes to the times, say you've got to beat a 112 in the Zerouno. Now, my version of Zerouno currently is not max tuned for that 4th star, because I'm just like, yeah, really, really low on the credits, so I was trying to avoid doing as much upgrading as possible. But here, I've left out the handling and some of the nitro and some of the top speed thing, and most focusing on the acceleration of this Zerouno with the tuning. But yeah, at 3080, it's well possible to do that in like under the time requirement. But like, yeah, again, I just really didn't want to tune it up to the max. But these last 2 blueprints here, like that's a crazy ask to get those. This is the like really, really nuts one. Say there's 9 blueprints to be had there if you have a Ford Star Ford Shelby. As I went into it earlier, a Ford Star Ford Shelby is going to cost you 165 blueprints. Also, looking at the times, doing a 113 on the Ford Shelby, even at max tuning in Rome Pantheon Split, that's not going to be an easy time in the slightest. Like breaking 112 in the Zerouno was difficult, and the Zerouno is a B-class car. Like the Ford Shelby is a very, very mid to low range kind of C-class. Like that would be a nightmare to get. I'd strongly advise against like spending tokens in this event, unless maybe like if you had the Vanda or the Shelby really, really close to the actual point of unlocking them or point of getting a star up, then maybe get a 10 pack or so just for the sake of like getting that star up. But if you are like 40 or 50 blueprints away from getting an upgrade from this, definitely I wouldn't. Like, we've got the Yesco Grand Prix is expected to be in the next small while. After that, you're talking about like the Lamborghini season, where you're going to have a lot of new Lamborghinis to tune up and spend tokens in there. And also you're going to be looking at, after that, the Burst of Speed, which features the Bugatti Chiron, McLaren Senna, the Genti, I'm trying to remember the cars from that. It's the Aperta. There's a couple that I've golded, so they're like just out of my mind. But yeah, there's 6 cars involved with that. The other 2 cars for that were the Avija and the Carrera GT. You can check the time up there to see like how long it took my brain to do that, because I'll cut this out in the editing. But yeah, those are the cars that are in that Burst of Speed. Those packs will be the 20% drop rate. Way, way better than spending tokens on this thing. This looks like a nightmare of an event. Unless they severely change that Burst of Speed event down the line. Like, please don't. But yeah, like these events need to start having slightly more credits. And they need to stop having all of this bullshit. So yeah, it's just a case of, like, I think that's pretty much it. I will just ask now, after my long rant, to like, please do sub to this channel. I know quite a lot of people obviously don't watch these to the end, and that's usually where I give my subs up there, this up there, that there. Yeah, but please guys, do give a sub to this channel, or leave a comment down below to say what you think of this event, and maybe like yeah, if any of the devs of A9 Legends are watching, you can say why you used like the worst photoshopped event pictures ever for this one. But yeah, like I will just say that now, and instead I'll just leave the runs go on from here. But like I said, they're going to be clipped down just down to the runs, because obviously a lot of this was kind of mentioned in between them, and I didn't want to be editing out like from 2 or 3 hours of me going, this is cool and this is less cool, these times are impossible. But yeah, I'll just leave the times down below so you can see where those things are. But yeah, like this event, I've got 3 more runs to do here in the Zerouno to get 3 more Vanda blueprints. That's going to put me at around 20 something blueprints away from being able to unlock it. I'm very unlikely to actually spend tokens on 20 odd blueprints for that. This Vanda Electrics car was made use of for the Batista event, which, like, because of licensing issues, isn't coming to the Switch or has been severely delayed. So as of Global's events, this car didn't have a use, as far as I know, for the next year. It's the same with the Ford Shelby GR1 was used in Drive Syndicate 2, and as such, like, there is no immediate need for it as far as I know. If I am incorrect about that, please do leave it in the comments down below, and I'll actually pin the comment if people say like, oh no, it's used in this event. And yeah, you can, if somebody does know from Global if it was used in one of those events, just so people can know, because I don't like saying the fact, obviously, like, don't upgrade or unlock these cars just in case there's an event around the corner and it's like, hey, but Storm told us not to do it. And I'm just like, yeah, I advise not to, because the cost is crazy. But still, if these do come up and they're like, but if you had the Vanda Electrics, you get 1,000,000 blueprints for the, I don't know, the P1 again. If that does happen, that would be different, I believe, to the global version. And yeah, apologies if it does. But like I said, I'm just going off what I know from the global version and just working out the actual costs and things. But yeah, guys, this event blows. I'm gonna just cut to the videos and yeah, just say, as always, drive safe, mind those tokens, and yeah, good luck in the Riot event, which is on, which is pretty cool. And yeah, put times in for those weekly competitions and stuff if you've got tickets to burn while we're waiting for the Lambo season to start off. Okay guys, good luck, and yeah, cut to me possibly still semi-optimistic about this event. No, and yeah, this street's a San Fran track. Like, it's just not really designed for that. The perfect nitro and the AI that's featured on here really isn't useful for getting those 3 knockdowns, because they just drop backwards too fast at the start, and yeah, you don't have the time really to wait around for them to knock them down. I've tried getting all of the goals here in the same run, and realistically, you're going to be looking to just come in and do those perfect runs and then get the time separately, or get the blueprints first and then come back in for the set quests, because yeah, like, you just don't have the time. It's just not flexible enough really to wait up and get knockdowns on those AI, whilst at the same time putting in a 1:16 time with the Zerouno, at least anyway. It's like, it's a tight enough time to be done, really. And yeah, like, I would just advise, this quest is here for a week, so just make use out of the car's speed and grab their blueprints that way first, and then just come back here and harass the AI and like cheese out the actual perfect runs just by doing those, like, put your car into a blue state, take your car out of a blue state over and over and over again. But definitely, I think the second you start trying to do both of them together, you're just going to end up doing neither, which, yeah, obviously just means you're wasting tickets and wasting Zerouno fuel, which unfortunately we don't have the Legend Pass active now either, so you don't have a load of fuel to mess around with that. But hey, 1:14 is doable with just, yeah, obviously hitting those barrel roll ramps, but not going for those things, because like, yeah, that AI at the start, like, you're just gonna lose them straight away, and pretty much you get one knockdown there. Might have been possible to knock down the second one, but like, the third car is already behind me. If I wanted to actually have a chance at doing that, you are gonna have to slow down, and slowing down on this thing, you just don't get enough time to do it realistically. So like, yeah, focus on the time, do that like the 8 times to get all those Ford Shelby blueprints, and yeah, then come back in here and knock out those nitros, barrels, and yeah, knockdowns. Now, might be a question as to why I'm so keen as well to not spend credits on this car, and like, Yeah, it comes from the fact that the events recently have been really, really poor at giving credits to the player. And yeah, like I don't bought the DS, so I'm missing him that way. But also, yeah, Tal Design's a B class car, and like say, it's in the same category as the Hurricane Spider Evo, and yeah, the Lotus Evija, my Grand Sport. So realistically, like this 4-star mid-range car, that's never really going to be something that I want to make use out of. Like when it comes to multiplayer, I'm always going to choose one of those other kind of higher cars, or else just, yeah, that crazy like Grand Sport if I just want to take it easy with the handling. But yeah, the Ital design, it's not bad, but you know, it's just not great. And if there's an event like this which needs it, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I'll use it for that. But at the same time, if I can scrape by without spending credits on this, I definitely will. Like I'll probably apply some of the upgrades over the next couple of days to this, just to get that daily quest complete and get my tokens through upgrading this car. But yeah, it's not something that I really like. I'm not keen to get this like well above where it needs to be just to get the blueprints out of this event, and that's it. I'm just gonna go back into the garage after this event is over, I think, and kind of remain insider. I guess I'll be using it for the multiplayer season as well for most of this week. But yeah, Ital Design, not a bad car. Perfectly doable with that 11.6. Just a small bit on the twitchy side. But yeah, like, yeah, Pantheon splits have far more forgiving cores. And of course, there's a load more leeway with that than there is that crazy Shelby one. But it's possible with this car to easily get that blueprint for the 112 and of course the 113.5 in the 3-star, because that's got, it has about 3 or 4 upgrades on it now over that 3-star, but it's still missing all the handling upgrades and the nitro upgrades, and one of the top speed ones is still off of there. But yeah, I'm just trying to save up those credits. Now, I did just say, I will include this, by the way, the 360s and the airtime, 360s in one go and the airtime of 15 seconds. Realistically, to get those, you're not going to be able to go for the time and those things as well. So, like, I would just put the two of these together into a category of, like, yeah, just throw a run away to get yourself 30 tokens. It's only one ticket anyway, which isn't too bad. But, yeah, airtime and 360s in one go. And, like, that 360s in one go isn't exactly even the easiest on the Pantheon split, but I'll show like a handy enough trick that you can do to get that the airtime and where you might pick up those 360s as well. I'll be down near the river making use of what should be a barrel roll ramp, but you can actually make use of that barrel roll ramp to instead do 360s off of and launch yourself. Now, you can get them when you're coming up onto the area just before the river. But yeah, we're just going to soak up as much airtime as possible. And with that, it's going to be a case of I'm just leaving the AI to it, really. And just going to hit ramps as poorly as possible kind of thing. So like 15 seconds does involve kind of hitting all the ramps, but also hitting all the ramps slightly poorly. So I'm just riding right up along the wall there, and yeah, 2.5 seconds from that, where you really shouldn't be aiming to get like more than a second. I'm going to try, like I said, here you could try and get the 4 360s from this, but whilst that did land it, where you could definitely get them is this ramp right here. Just 360 on your way into this, and you can throw the car into like, yeah, 5 360s consecutively from that. All you need to do is, like I said, when you're coming towards a barrel roll ramp, just 360 on the way into it, and as long as you don't hit the inner portion, you should be fine to like get that extra airtime out of it. Heave the car up again, and like, yeah, again on the inside here, just gonna like get as much airtime as possible from the ramps that are available. So I'm gonna go into the inside for one ramp, and then shoot out to the barrel roll ramp again here. You can even 360 up from that. Like you can 360 off of any of those would-be barrel roll ramps. It's not ideal, but yeah, it is a way to get like a crazy amount of barrel rolls out of a track which would otherwise, out of a track that's like not exactly designed for 360s, but yeah, you need those 360s for quests, say. And yeah, that's your 15 seconds of airtime and 360s in one go. Like, yeah, there's a couple of points where you can get it. But if you see on those barrel roll ramps in particular, like if you 360 up on one of those, like, it's really not good for racing. But when you need to do 360s for a quest, like, they're a great way of doing it. And it is just like, you see this, the speed there, it doesn't involve going fast. Just nice, slow control drive into it. Start the 360 before it and just aim right for the top of those. And yeah, they'll send your car like 360ing into the air, and I was going to say barreling into the air, but literally quite the opposite. All right, so now I will say that, like, whoever tuned this one for the event and thought 117 and a 2-star Shelby was a good idea, go f yourself. But yeah, this is a really, really tight time to do. It's taken about like 6 or 7 runs to get a feel for this car on this track. AI at the start is a nightmare. Car's acceleration is woefully bad. And yeah, 117. Like, that's kind of around the time that you get for the B and A class cars for the weekly Streets of San Francisco daily. So, I mean, yeah, it's really, really painful to try and get these 2 blueprints. Like, woeful rewards. Just if you are looking at this 117 to get those 2 blueprints, and you're thinking, oh, that'll be an easy enough time. Yeah, definitely. Unless that's retuned slightly during the week, do not consider these as a freebie. You need to get a shockwave here for sure in this car going up the ramp, because like anything other than a shockwave is pretty much run over for this. You need to get yourself, keep that nitro bar filled up, because you're going to go through the warehouse here. And blue nitro state across this set of carpet. Really have to be careful to put the car into a blue nitro state. Drift here, fill all the way up to a shockwave. Even if you lose a fair enough bit of speed, you need that shockwave going towards the last stretch. It really is a nightmare time though. Like I said, this is, yeah, more than a handful of runs, to be honest, to try to get like a single blueprint on this one. Oi, there we go. What the heck? That is, like, you basically would need to be in a situation where you could possibly have done like the old San Fran expert time with like the woefully bad cars. Because yeah, this thing's not good. And like the AI at the start there slow me down by a fraction, but they can be far worse than that. Any more slowing than that and this is run over. And yeah, you need to like pretty much make sure you're soaking up nitro wherever you can, never ever touching anything. And I'll just show exactly the point where it's talking about that warehouse, by the way, in case you don't take it. If you're not shockwaving up here, by the way, as well, to get that car straight up to speed, run over again with a 2-star version of this car. It just cannot do it. Chunk off the wall is not too bad at the top here, but yeah, going down here, like as you pass into this building in front here, that like warehousey looking thing, if you're not in a blue nitro state for that, when you go, the second you touch that red mark on the ground, your car will just go whoop straight down to 140 miles an hour. Like if that happens, it's run over. If you hit any of the traffic on the way through to here, it's run over. Admittedly, the traffic on the way here, it does mean that you can get quite a few near miss bonuses, but I wouldn't rely on those for when you're starting off the blue nitro here, because you're going to need like to be in the blue nitro state before you hit that carpet. And then yeah, it's the only way to keep the car speed as you're coming out there. And like, ooh, so close to hitting that thing. Fill up on the nitro by drifting around, shockwave towards the finish. Need to like have the full shockwave there. If you're using the orange nitro in this car, even its acceleration's just, it's not gonna do it. Like, and again here at the end, that is an orange to the finish line, but oh, incredibly hard. Like, definitely not a freebie there at all. And it's for 1 blueprint for the Vanda Electric. Oh my god. Yeah, awful. What's that bring me up to? 18 out of 50. I'm very unlikely to unlock this car from this event, realistically, because